Hi everybody, welcome to Love's Creations. Today I am going to show you how to make cocoa bombs. So you're going to want a mold. This is about a 2-inch mold. I like this size, it fits in most coffee cups. You want to make sure it's really clean. And then I usually take a paper towel and either get it a little bit damp with some water, or you can use some vodka or tequila to kind of clean any dust out of your mold and keep your chocolate shiny. The other things you're gonna need is your melting wafers. I usually like to use chocolate that has the cocoa butter in it, but today all I have is the melting wafers. So you'll see and I bought these off of Amazon. They're the Merkins Cocoa Light, and then this is a milk chocolate. You can get dark chocolate. They also have white chocolate. Usually when you have melting wafers, you'll see that there's vegetable oils or other oils in them instead of the cocoa butter. So with these, you don't have to worry about tempering. You just melt them 30 seconds at a time in the microwave, and then you can cool it down by adding more wafers in, and I will show you that later on. I also chose to do the salted caramel hot cocoa today in my cocoa bombs. There's all kinds of different recipes that you could use. Regular cocoa, some people use white chocolate shells with strawberry, and I will go over some of the other ones in different videos. The other thing that we have today is our sprinkles, which will go on top after we put the bombs together. You're gonna need some marshmallows to go inside, and then I just kind of have a bowl to catch sprinkles and stuff like that. The other thing that you're gonna want is something like a cupcake liner or something to kind of hold your cocoa bombs upright and display them in. So I'm going to go ahead and put my wafers in a microwavable bowl and start melting them. So I'm doing 6 shells, so I'm going to go ahead. This is a 3-cup bowl. I'm probably going to end up with about 2 cups. And I'm just gonna keep microwaving this. Gonna pop it in for another 30 seconds, stir, and I'll be right back. So while I'm waiting for my chocolate to melt, I just wanted to show you that this one has the semi-sweet chocolate and it has the cocoa butter in it, which you need to temper this chocolate. And I find that this chocolate actually tastes better. I prefer it. You know, if I had more, I'd be using it. Like I said, I'll just make another video too that talks about tempering chocolate, and then do maybe a different kind of cocoa bomb. I get this at Walmart for $1.50. I've bought some at Smith's. It's like $2.30. Still trying to find where I can buy maybe bulk at. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to melting my chocolate, and I just thought I would share that with you. The other thing that I wanted to show you is that I love these thermometers. I like to have a thermometer to make sure that my chocolate's not like super hot before I start pouring it in the mold and using it. That way it's not really runny and it sets up a little better. I like to kind of keep it in the 87 to the 94 degrees because it just seems to be a little easier to work with. So a thermometer is handy to have. I also have this spatula, which I just bought. I haven't even taken the battery thing out, but I will use that in my next video when I am tempering chocolate. You have Celsius and Fahrenheit, and as you're stirring, you can just kind of tell where you're at. So okay, so I've just microwaved this chocolate, it's not completely melted, but you need to agitate your chocolate and stir it so that the heat is even. And the other chocolates, it's not bad that they're not melted because this will cool it down. So right now it's 128 degrees. You can burn chocolate pretty easy. So I think I'm just gonna keep it here, and I'm just gonna stir and incorporate all that chocolate. And then I will let it sit, and I will clean my Cocoa Bomb silicone mold as I do that. I'm totally gonna add more chocolate in here to cool it off. And it's nice and, you know, really runny. So definitely gonna wanna let this set. You have time to work with this. You don't have to be super, super fast. Go. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. This was a 2-pound bag, and I got this off of Amazon. I don't really remember how much I paid for it, but I want to say close to $20. So I'm just gonna keep stirring this, and this will drop the temperature of my chocolate. I like to use this side for drizzling. A lot of people use piping bags and different things like that to decorate with, but at the moment I am out of my little disposable piping bags, so I'm just gonna work with what I have. The other thing you could do if you don't have a microwave is double boil this. You really want a light rolling, you don't want it to be like heavily boiling when you're double boiling. So you just kind of get it to where it's just boiling, and then you just don't really want to walk away from chocolate when you're double boiling it. So I put a lot in here. I'm gonna microwave it for 15 seconds. Come back and stir until it's all smooth. So I'm just gonna keep stirring. I did another 15 seconds. There's still some chunks, which is good. I don't want them all to be melted. I'm just gonna stir this until it's smooth. So please feel free to ask any questions, and I will answer them as best as I can. Feel free to subscribe. I'm in the process of making several how-to videos. I'm gonna do cake pops and chocolate covered strawberries. And you know, you can check out all my videos when you look me up and subscribe. There, so that's looking really good. It's probably still pretty hot. It's 105 right now. Hey guys, why my chocolate is setting up? Because it's about 100 degrees. I'm gonna let it cool off. I want it to be between 87 and like 94. I'm just gonna kind of like clean any residue that I see out of the molds. I don't like to put these in the dishwasher because I think that they just don't last as long with the heat. If you do it in the dishwasher, I'd probably just put it on a no heat cycle if you have that option. The other thing that you really want to be careful of is not to get like water and chocolate mixed together, because water seizes chocolate. So I'm gonna kind of wipe these out, and then just kind of, I only put water on a little part of my paper towel, and I'm gonna just kind of dry it. The only reason that I dampen my paper towel is because if you don't, you get like little pieces of fabric or, you know, like little pieces of cotton kind of left over. And I don't want to see a bunch of fuzz on my cocoa bombs. Okay guys, so my chocolate's at 96. I think that's pretty good. As you can see, it's not too runny. What I'm gonna do is put about maybe a tablespoon and a half. Or if you have a regular like spoon, you do a couple spoons. So, and then what you're doing is you're just gonna bring, I don't know if you can see that, yep. So I'm just gonna start bringing this up the sides because you really wanna build up these side walls. That's the most important part so that your bomb does not crack or fall apart easily. You can do this rather fast. It's gonna, you know, move around and settle. I like to get it kind of going, get all of them filled up. Get the chocolate everywhere, and then I like to move my mold around to make sure I got everything. And then you're gonna pour out the excess chocolate. I usually do 2 layers, kind of more for the sides. On the second layer, I'm not really focused on the bottom because the chocolate's gonna settle down there, right? So I focus on the sides, and then your chocolate's kind of cold, so it solidifies quicker. And then don't worry about getting it outside your mold because you're gonna clean up and scrape the edges. So I got them pretty covered. Just gonna show you guys. So now I just like to kind of like move it around and see where I missed. You have a lot of chocolate to work with. It just kind of smooths the edges out for me. Like over here, you can see that I missed a whole bunch. And I like to get right up to that edge. Move this over a little bit. Like to have lots of room to work with here. So like, yeah, I missed a bunch right there. You can even get your spoon and re-go in there and kind of build it up if there's a lot. So once you kind of get it all covered, and if there is any thin spots or see-through spots, then you have a second round to fix this. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take it and flip it upside down. And you can reuse all this chocolate. I like to just kind of move it around. A lot of people will set this and let it cure this way so that there's not a buildup of chocolate on the bottom of the mold. I like to flip mine over, and then I'm going to take my little scraper, or you can use your little angled frosting thing, and you're just gonna clean up the edges here. Just clean them up and wipe it right back into your bowl, just to try to get that nice edge. Now you're gonna pop this in the refrigerator for a few minutes. I'll let you see that. A lot of times I'll put it on like a tray or a pan so that the chocolate stays flat and even, but You can also just pop it in there. Cocoa bombs are a little easier. And then you can either pop this in the fridge and break off all your chocolate. And then, of course, if you were making these for somebody, you'd want a hairnet and gloves and all that fine stuff. A mask. But this is just for me and my children, so. So I'm just gonna stir back in that chocolate because it's still pretty hot. If your chocolate gets thick, like it's getting, you can pop it back in for 10 or 15 seconds. Which I'm gonna do because we have a second coat going. You know, and it's nice to have more than one mold if you're really trying to do this as a business or make a bunch. Okay, so I've had these in the refrigerator for a couple minutes, and I'm just gonna go through and kind of build up my sides. It is cold, so the chocolate's gonna get hard faster. A lot of people use like a paintbrush too. But you're just really wanting to reinforce these sides so that they don't break when you're putting them together. You can also use a spoon for this. I'm just like trying to avoid dishes. I think. So I've noticed with the melting wafers that when I refrigerate, I kind of get like these white streaks in there, maybe where the oil and the chocolate kind of separated, but it doesn't look like that on the outside. The outside is still going to be nice and shiny. Not much time like the first round to work with everything. You know, I'm gonna switch to a spoon too, because it is easier to get in the round parts. Plus, I can show you guys what I'm doing. So yeah, with the spoon, you can kind of just push it up, try to smooth it out. Doesn't really matter because it's the inside. And you don't have to get really super thick in here because you want it to break apart when you put the milk on it. All right. So you can see that there's not much movement in there because the chocolate was already cold. All right. So I'm just gonna pop this back in for a couple minutes. I got my sides nice and built up. I don't see any thin spots, maybe one little spot right here. You know, you just go in, eyeball it, fix it. And try to make it a little thicker up top. I don't start with the bottom when I do the second. I start on the sides. Looking good. Okay, back in the fridge. So you guys, for this part, I'm gonna put on some gloves because I don't like fingerprints on my cocoa bombs. So chocolate gets fingerprints easy. And then it doesn't melt in your hand either because good chocolate will melt when you touch it at room body temperature. So what I'm gonna do is just start peeling away the sides, and then I'm putting my hand on the bottom here and just kind of pushing these out, and then you can see how beautiful and shiny it is. I'm gonna go ahead and set these on my paper, and then just kind of continue to pop these out. So we're gonna clean up these edges. Usually you can either microwave a plate or kind of warm up a small pan on the stove. I don't want it like super duper hot. Just hot enough to kind of melt the chocolate, which doesn't take much. So I've microwaved my plate for about 45 seconds. I'm gonna pick which ones I want to be the bottom, and I'm just gonna clean up those edges. And you just kind of roll it around. Clean up your edges nice. I like to, sometimes it gets stuck on there, so I'm gonna put these in my cupcake liner. Boom. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my cocoa bombs. Guys, so now we're gonna add our cocoa powder, and I have my trusty assistant here.
I'm gonna move that.
We're gonna do 2 tablespoons.
I'm gonna move the bowl.
You're gonna move the bowl closer? Okay. And we've washed our hands.
Now,
we're gonna do 2 tablespoons
that felt good.
of cocoa powder in each cocoa bomb.
Let me help you.
Make sure you leave room for the marshmallows. 2, 1, 2. And again, I'm using the salted caramel hot cocoa. So now my trusty assistant is going to put the marshmallows in there. You want to just put a nice little handful, but you got to remember that you got to close these. So we're going to do that to each one. Perfect. Next one. Okay, so I've removed my plate for 30 seconds. I'm just gonna rinse and repeat here. I'm gonna get the tops, I'm gonna melt them. I'm gonna try to get them to grab some of the melted chocolate that's already on there. And you're just going to, without spilling, place your cocoa bomb on there. And you can probably even melt it a little more, but I'm just gonna kind of seal it. And voila. Oh, maybe we should melt it a little bit more. Get more chocolate on there. And kind of squeeze it together and let it dry. So I'm getting a nice little buildup of chocolate. I'm really trying to collect that on the edges like glue. If you guys are having a hard time getting it to seal, you can also pipe some little beads or pipe chocolate on there and then do sprinkles. So my chocolate's hardened up, but I'm gonna go ahead and remelt it. And at this point, I'm just decorating. So you can use white chocolate or regular chocolate or caramel or whatever you're gonna put on top. I'm gonna remelt this and drizzle it, and then gonna take a bunch on this and just start to drizzle on there. Oh, I'm just gonna kind of hope the bowl catches some of that.